Something interesting talking to 40k. There was a YouTuber that's part of a team on YouTube that's very heavily involved in the 40k scene. They recently announced they are stepping away from 40k events to get into TCGs, basically. Specifically, Star Wars Unlimited.
Which is nuts.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Because how hardcore 40k players are, especially those that go to events, most weekends and do it as a job.
Yeah.
Essentially, whether it's semi-retiring or whatever you want to call it, from events to take up a card game, it baffles me.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Sum it up as quick as you can. What's your opinion, TCG versus tabletop gaming?
They both share similar elements.
Yeah.
You have deck building and list building. So that is essentially the same thing. The difference with card games, and it's what puts me off, is there's an element of gambling to it. In tabletop games, if you want a model, you buy that model, and it's roughly the same price for everyone. Whereas if you need a certain card in a TCG game, then you're either buying it as a single. If it's rare, then it's massively expensive, or can be. And if you want to buy it from a pack, you could end up buying 300 packs before you get the card you need. So there's that element that I think is really, really against TCGs, to me, unless you've got unlimited money, which I do not. But the plus side to TCGs is I think it's more customizable because there's so many cards available, and if you're building certain decks, the more sets that come out. We'll use Star Wars as an example. They're on set 4 or 5 at the moment. The more that come out, the more options you have, the more customizable your deck can be.
Yeah.
Whereas with a TTA, with a tabletop game, whether it's Middle Earth or 40k, you're very limited to your choices, and they can't release models like they release cards. It's just not viable.
I mean, they could.
They could.
They should.
They should for MESBG. So there's that. And there's also the fact that you can whip out a deck, at the dinner table, have a quick game with a friend, and, it takes half hour, and that's that. Yeah. Sinking half hour into a tabletop game is not going to get you very far. You're going to have two hours minimum for any sort of game like this, So there's pros and cons to both. And they do seem to kind of share an audience in a way. Like most people that play Warhammer have also dabbled in Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Star Wars or something. Yeah.
I mean, I do find there's a lot more that people who play card games end up playing TCGs. I don't find
that's the same thing.
Play tabletop games. I don't find there's as many who play tabletop games and end up go into card games.
Yeah.
Like I find the fact that is now happening, I find that strange because it is usually the opposite way around. I don't know if it's something about, is there an age thing about card games where the competitive people are generally younger and tabletop is generally older? So once you get older, you feel like you're more in the crowd. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yeah.
Whether it's just a mental thing of that or...
I think for the most part as well, TCGs are far more accessible.
Yeah.
Not only for availability, like you can go into W.H. Smith's and buy some Pokemon cards. Maybe not every card game, but you can go into most stores. Yeah. Whereas for tabletop games, you have to go into very specific wargaming hobby stores.
Yeah.
And that plays a big part in it. Also, rules. If you want to play a war game like MESBG, not only are you buying multiple boxes of models to build your army, but you're also buying the rule book, the Lord of the Rings Armies book, the Hobbit Armies book, the Armies of Middle-earth. You're buying lots of things to actually get that game going. Whereas the card game, buy yourself a starter deck, good to go.
Yeah, that's true.
And then if you want to customize it, buy yourself some packs.
Yeah.
You can buy all the accessories you want, or you can just stick with the fold-out mat. Like it's just more accessible. Also, you haven't got to read a massive 300-page rule book. You just read like a 5-page rule book, and then read what your cards say. That's kind of how TCGs work.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to compare.
It is, yeah. Like you say, it's TCG, out the box, you're ready to go. Tabletop, you don't play with them just out the box. Here's my sprue, and I move forward this. It's just,
Imagine that.
I can't be bothered to build it. There's a sprue on a base. Done.
Playing war games when you don't have time. It's just a sprue moving across the table. Love it.
Yeah. do you think it's going to happen more? Do you think more people are going to start walking away from tabletop?
That happens a lot. My lighting gel just fell down.
You need some taping lessons.
Yeah. I think it's difficult because there's two parts of the crowd, I think. There's the GW fanboys, which we very much are. I love everything GW do pretty much. Disagree with some of their consumer practices, I guess. But I think overall they're great. But then there's the other side of the crowd that are just anti everything GW does.
Yeah.
I think that crowd are far more likely to go, let's go and play Magic the Gathering and we'll use the 40k set that they released if they really want to stick to that universe. Same with Star Wars. If you're against spending loads of money on Star Wars Legion, then you can go and play Star Wars Unlimited if you want to stick within that realm. I don't know. I think it just depends who you are. In my opinion, at the end of the day, just do both.
If you want to. Yeah.
I want to. I've just got into Star Wars Unlimited. And, it doesn't mean I'm going to retire from playing Middle-earth or Shatterpoint or anything like that. I'm just going to do both.
How long does a game of Star Wars Unlimited tend to take?
We've already played like 5 games, but probably 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that is an appeal.
Yeah.
That is very much an appeal.
I mean, me and my partner on holiday, we would wait for my boy to go to bed, and then we'd sit on the balcony and just play Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we'd normally have 2 games a night, so yeah. Fills in an hour, glass of red. Those were the days last week,
Back to this now.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that this, so say, I forgot who it was, who actually has left the 40k stuff to go to TCGs. Do you think they'll take people with them? Do you think that's an influence thing that will start, making people go, oh, actually then?
Well, when he started posting about it online and saying how good it was, a part of me was like, oh, we have similar interests. I'm a massive Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out. And since the release of the game, I've got the starter set.
Yeah.
Went through a booster box and I like the artwork, I like the cards, just never tried the game.
Yeah.
So I only needed a little bit of a nudge to be like, I'll give it a go. And I did, and that probably did influence my decision. So he's definitely not taking me away from tabletop games at all. If anything, I'm more into them at the moment than ever.
Yeah.
And that's saying something. But I think it's definitely worth doing both if you can.
Yeah. I just mean in general, just that influencer influencing side.
I mean, he's not that big of a...
No, but as part of that team, he's one of the favourites.
True.
So whether, there are other fans who go, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to follow what he does more.
Yeah. I mean, part of me says I hope so, but I hope that they just try the game rather than
leave the others for it.
40k and so on and so forth. It's an interesting discussion, though, card games versus tabletop games. And I definitely would love to hear what everyone else thinks on that.
Yeah.
So if you're a patron or if you're watching on YouTube, whatever this may be, let us know in the comments. Do you play both? Did one influence you to get into the other?
Yeah.
Did you go from tabletop to TCGs, from TCGs to tabletop? Let us know. I'm curious.
Yeah. We probably have a slightly biased viewership here.
True.
But hey, like we played card games probably before.
Ooh, we've been playing this since it came out.
Yeah. But then I guess we did play games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff.
True.
Potentially young. It's probably similar times in general. Yeah. Like we did just end up going, we'll try it all. But we may have actually been card games first.
Maybe. I know what we've done more of, that's for sure.
Yes. Oh, God, definitely, yes.